We gave you a quick peek of these earlier in the show, just as we were starting out. This is gonna be your secret silver Kennedys. You're getting 13 coins. These are the half-dollar rolls, and these are from the Philadelphia and Denver mints from 1965 to 1969. And look at and as you were laying them out,
20 of them already sold.
Yeah,
I mean 20 of them, well, 19. You get 13 silver Kennedy's $half-dollars.
Yeah.
For $99.95. 13. Okay, that you're gonna have 13, we would call it a baker's dozen, okay? That you're gonna have, and these are the silver, and they're secret, we call them secret, because most people don't realize that they continue to make silver Kennedy $half-dollars throughout the 1960s. And that's what you're going to get. You're gonna get 13 of those, and if you look at the edge, there's none of that telltale copper line that you're going to have there. And I don't know if you've been following silver. I do, most people don't. In about the last week, we've had about a 6 to 10% increase in the price of silver.
Wow.
So what we have is we've not gone up. We bought these before that price increase. Okay. So listen to that. And they just sound different. Yeah. They just sound different is what it comes down to. So here's what it comes, ultimately what it is. I want to go over here real quick. I have my nationally advertised catalog because what I'm doing is basically 13 coins for 99 bucks. So you're looking at, what's that, $7.50 a coin. Okay, roughly, yeah, $7.50 for 13 coins is ultimately what it comes down to. If I go to the nationally advertised catalog, and you look at this, the price in the catalog, and these are 65 to 69, we're looking at $31.50, $19.50, $19.50, $19.50, $19.50, or $19.50. So the lowest price they charge for any one of these brilliant uncirculated coins is $19.50. Wow. So the value on these on an individual, that's 65 that you see right there is $31.50. Okay, so that's $31.50. So your minimum numismatic value based on this catalog is at $19.50 a coin times 13. Oh, wow. That's about 250 bucks. Between 250 and 400. Yeah. Depending on how many 65s you get, between 250 at the low end and up to 350 or so with the mix that we have here, and you get that for $99. Because every one of these coins is not just the silver coins. They are the brilliant uncirculated silver coins. So when I do this, I got to turn this just right so that you can see, look at that. Every single one of these original, brilliant, uncirculated, just like the day that they were made, just like the day they were made. They come in a handy presentation tube, and people go, why 13? I just crammed in as many as I give you for basically $100 bucks. Oh, okay. Okay, so that was my thing. It's like, okay, I want it to be affordable. I want it to be under $100, $99.95. So how many coins? And I said, I can do a dozen. Can I squeeze one more coin in there? And we were able to do that. And so that's how we got to the 13 coins that make this out. Yeah, that's how we make that the baker's dozen that you're going to have of the silver Kennedy $half-dollars that you see there, secret silver Kennedy $half-dollars. And I know it doesn't say there, but they are brilliant uncirculated. Very important. Very important. And for you to understand that all these coins are original brilliant uncirculated coins. So that's what gives you that numismatic value. You're in essence at $7.50 bucks, buying them at silver price, okay? You're buying them in essence at silver price, but you're getting that numismatic component, $19, so that's about $12 a coin. Now, that numismatic value is what you're getting in essence at no additional cost or charge. And so that's the real important part of this as you do this. And you want to see, each one of the coins is original and spectacular, brilliant, uncirculated. I pulled one out here. Look at this coin right here. When I turn the coin, people always say, why do you do that? So that you can see the luster of the coin as I turn the coin right there. And you can see that it's in original condition from 1965, 6, 7, 8, or 9.
Or 9, that's right.
That you're going to have. We do have some 65s in there. Those are like $31.50. Look at every single solitary one of them. And silver, as you can see right there. So you get 13 silver $half-dollars, Kennedy $half-dollars at $99.95. And that's what makes this such a spectacular opportunity for you to be able to get these coins at, like I said, silver pricing. And silver's gone up fairly substantially. Has broken through some real important levels here in about the last a week or so. Now, it wasn't that long ago that I had to sell this same deal for $250 when silver's, you know, really at the very low end of the spectrum.
But we know that it doesn't stay there.
It doesn't stay that way, right? Exactly. But it has been for a little while now. Well, what has happened is it has started moving again, and it was either kind of going to go down, but it started going up. Yes. And so we've broken some very important price supports here within the last, I would say the last week or so, as a matter of fact. So who knows what's going on with silver, but silver and gold have been very strong in the marketplace, have been very strong in the market. And this is your way to own not only silver, but own it in authentic and original vintage American coins that are in brilliant uncirculated condition, which of course is the other key to this, is that every one of these coins is original, brilliant, uncirculated, and hence you hear that, listen to that. I mean, there's just no substitute for solid silver. You can hear the difference. You can hear the difference in that.
The coins today don't sound like that.
No, they're clunky because it's a clad. It's manganese and brass and all that other stuff, and I don't even know how they make them look silvery. But these are these are the last silver coins ever made by the United States government that were at the time intended for circulation.
So you were supposed to use that.
We did use these for many years, because you have to understand, silver, when they released these, silver was $1 an ounce. Basically, okay? Silver was basically $1 an ounce. And so those are based on $1 an ounce is really what it comes down to.
So many of you, when you're hearing this, you're saying that sounds like my childhood. That sounds like what I remember.
That's a good way to put it. I like that.
Because they don't sound like that anymore. And maybe that's, your grandpa or your dad would, kind of rustle the change in his pocket, and that was the sound.
That's how I knew my dad was home.
Yeah.
My dad he jingled his change all the time, and that's what it sounded like.
Yeah, and that's what you get. You're getting 13 of them in the roll. You can get as many rolls at this point as you want, because at this point, I don't think we are in danger of selling out of these during this show, but you do have other shows you're going to present.
Well, none of that. Here's the issue. I bought these coins before the increase in the price of silver. So now, if I bought them today, I could do the same thing, but I'd have to drop the 13th coin. You see what I'm saying? I have to go down to 12 because there's only so many coins I can get based on the silver, because we're selling these based on the silver content, as opposed to the numismatic content, as I show you, is $19.50 a coin. So that's why you're a minimum of $250 in terms of the, if purchased separately, price. Because of the numismatic value, we're in essence selling these and buying these based on the silver price. I was able to do that, and that's how I can do this and give you such an exceptional opportunity. The problem is silver has gone up. I can no longer buy them at that price. So while I have a good quantity now, that is a fixed quantity, particularly if silver tends to go up.
That's right. Okay, so I know we have to move on. We did spend a little extra time to give you a little time to continue to order. It's 609905. Go ahead and write that number down. We are